entire equation equal to 0 and solve for x. Alright, so to find your intercept, you want to set the opposite variable equal to 0. To find your y-intercept, you let x equal 0. To find your x-intercept, you want to set y equals 0. Okay, so if I set y equals 0, that would give me a point on the x-axis where x would be something and y would be 0. Okay, so let's do another practice problem. Find the two intercepts of this equation. Let's say 2x plus 3y equals 9. Alright, so go back to your notes and look at what we said to do to find the intercept. We're going to try to do that. Okay? Now you want to find the two intercepts separately. You can't find them at the same time. So you want to find the x-intercept first and then find the y-intercept.
Yeah, and you look on the x-intercept, set y to 0. So 3 times 0 is 0. So you have 2x equals 9. Then divide it. My stuff was migrating around. You leave it now. This one's easy. Take 3y equals 9. Because you said this is your this is your x-intercept.
Doesn't
This
matter.
is your y-intercept.
Let's try y first. Plug in x equals 0.
Okay, so how do I get, what do I do once 2x equals 9? Do I just get x by itself,
Yep.
just 1, so 4.5, or how do
It'd be 9 over 2, because you don't ever make it a compound fraction. X-intercept is 9 over 2. And then you do the same thing for your y.
So this is the y. So when I find y, that means I'm finding the y-intercept.
Yes. You're making yours look really nice. Mine just looks like a bunch of random problems.
Are you confused? Okay, you're going to write out your equation. So, oh, here, I can't really see what you're doing. But you want to write out your equation, right? You want to write it out twice. Because you need to do it 2 separate times in order to find it. Yeah, so right, so on this first one we're going to try to find y. So in order to do that, let's plug in 0 wherever we see it. Okay, so now you know that anything times 0 is 0. because you
Your
can't divide
calculator actually worked like that.
you're just gonna leave it as x equals 9 over 2. Because you're basically saying that
Oh,
you
you're
need to
actually
cut that
on
in half.
mine.
I was on it before
That's
class.
the intersection.
On your y intercept. Just adding
How are you? This is the one I had last week. Okay. This is the one I'm using right now. Okay. So plug in 0. Okay, there's what you would need. Okay. That's
No.
that would no, it's still relevant because they're saying that this meal is for 2 people.
Okay,
And you
sorry.
can shut it in half. Well, it's not because I make it into 4 meals because the portions are like huge. I did that the first week and my husband said, and this is guy that orders 2 number ones and 2 apple pies at McDonald's.
now when I walk around and check on her
You know what number 1 is at McDonald's, right? The Big Mac. Yeah, he ordered 2 Big Macs and 2 apple pies. So, yeah.
Well, that's how you did it on the quick.
Is that it? Right? On their side. What's this? What are we getting?
No sugar.
It has no gluten. Well,
No sugar.
which is
But this
no
is the
pre-processed sugar.
yeah. Yeah.
Just remember that when you want to find y, make x to 0. When you want to find x, make y 0.
I use like
Probably could make your own.
you could I mean you could use this is what I'm using right now. So it's I downloaded on the phone on the application recipe.
That'd be fun. Medium mayonnaise.
Well, actually, I had heard emails and emails, so how do I report it to you?
Sorry, I didn't.
You have to.
Just walk by and be like, no.
Oh,
It's all no. No.
So I knew it.
I wrote an English paper one time and I got it back and it had no written in red letters on the top and that's all it said.
No, not really.
That's fine. Okay, x-intercept. Y-intercept. Okay, 2 separate things. Alright, not the same thing. So for x-intercept, I want to let y equal 0. Alright, so I'm going to take that equation and just plug in 0 for y. So I have 2x plus 3 times 0 equals 9. Now, it doesn't matter what order you do them in. Doesn't matter what order you do them in. I have to do them in some order there. Alright, so 2x plus 3 times 0 is just 3 times 0 is 0. So I end up with just 2x equals 9. And how do I solve for x? Divide by 2. So I end up with x equals 9 over 2. So what is my x-intercept? X equals 9 over 2. And I would write that as a point. 9 over 2 was my x value. Y was 0.
Well, if we have a question similar to this in our homework, will it take that 9 over 2, or will it make us, like, change it into a different form?
You have to read the directions.
It says
Whether it says fraction or decimal.
or ordered pair.
Ordered pair, they mean they want the common 0. They don't just want x equals 9 over 2. Yeah, generally they'll want it written like this. Except when they don't. If they just want the x value, then the blank will say x equals blank and we'll just type in the x value. Okay, for my y-intercept, I gotta start over and let x equal 0. Okay, so I would have 2 times 0 plus 3y equals 9. 2 times 0 is just 0, so that goes away, and I'm left with 3y equals 9. Divide by 3 on both sides, and I get y equals 3. Okay, so that point would be x was 0, y was 3. So those are my two intercepts. Okay, now two mistakes I see all the time on here. One is combining these into one point. Like you would have 9 over 2 comma 3.
I do that
Does anybody
all the
do
time.
that all the
I
time?
do it all
I
the
see that all the
time.
time. So if you do that, it's not that uncommon. Just realize that you can't do that. They're two separate points.
Oh, you do want them, you cannot put the commas together and put together?
Like these two together? No, these do not go together. They're not related. They're two
I do it
separate
all the
points.
time. It's wrong.
Do you know I've learned this about 7 times and this is the first time I've ever understood it? Seriously.
See, that's the magic of math.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, the other thing I see is trying to connect them somehow. Like sometimes I'll see, well, if you do the x-intercept first and you get 9 over 2, then sometimes people will take 9 over 2 and try to plug that in to get the y-intercept. Okay? Just remember you have to plug in 0 for each one, and it's like two separate parts. They're not connected. So whatever answer you get for the first one, just leave it alone for a second and start over for the other one. Okay? Otherwise you're just going to kind of be going in circles. Alright, anybody else have any insight you want to share? Anything that helps you do this? Okay, now if I want to graph this line, once I know the intercept, graphing the line is really easy. Because I can just graph these 2 points. Okay, so x is 0, y is 3. The y-intercept would be 3. And the x-intercept is 9 over 2, which is 4.5, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 9 over 2 would be there. So I can just graph those two intercepts. The x-intercept should go on the x-axis, the y-intercept should go on the y-axis, and just draw a line between them. Okay? And that's my line. Now, the thing with MyMathLab is that if they tell you to graph the line using the intercepts, you must graph the line using the intercepts. Okay? Because even if you graph the right line, even if your line looks right, they'll still count it wrong if you don't actually click on the intercept. Yes, anyone found that out the hard way. And I always get emails saying, my line is the right line, but it counted it wrong because you didn't follow the directions.
Now, what do you, say that again, what do you mean by that?
Let me show you. Alright, assignment 4. Let's do assignment 4. Anybody know what question that is? 11? Okay, 11 says use the intercepts to graph the equation. Okay, now to graph an equation in MyMathLab, you basically have to click on 2 points. You click on 2 points, it'll draw a line that goes through those 2 points, whatever points you click on. Now, if it says to use the intercepts, then the points you click on have to be the x-intercept and the y-intercept. Does that make sense? So if you click on 2 points that are on the right line, and it draws the right line, it'll still count it wrong if you didn't specifically click on the intercepts. Okay, so if it says to use the intercepts, first thing I want to do is find the intercepts. So let's take this equation, and on paper, before you do anything on the graph, find the intercept on paper.
Do you want us to put this on the one we're turning in?
No, you can do it on your own paper, so you have an example of number 11. Okay, so I'm going to do mine up here. I have 6x plus 2y equals 12.
So do you know the first one? You know, write this twice. Because you definitely know that you need to do the common sense. Mm-hmm.
Of course, this becomes so nice and even.
Well, I have a different problem tomorrow. But yeah,
And you guys should have whole number answers for this one. They're pretty good about, with the
that?
intercepts, they're pretty about doing whole numbers. Since you can't really click on fractions on here. Sometimes you can. So if you guys want to go ahead and open number 11 and work on yours, just so, especially if you haven't graphed before, so you can figure out the graph. Now, if you graph that line, but you just clicked on 2 different points,
Yeah.
it could
I found that out in Math 85.
It could look like the same line, but it'll still come out wrong, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I went to Charles and I'm like, why is it doing
Oh, yeah.
this?
Everything hurts.
I feel like I'm like, because yeah, and I put it calls for
Did it count that right or wrong?
I counted it right.
Okay.
Because I went on.
I thought you were telling me it counted it wrong.
I have it on Thursday.
Yeah, but why isn't it on the graph?
Yeah, I usually make it bigger first.
But you said that no shampoo, I have it on
Well, this one's
there.
really
So then it wants you to
organic.
take a
Really
pool.
good. Cooking, by the way.
I do.
Well, I'm sitting here doing that. You open that up. I'm expecting you walk over, you get a hot plate, and you're working with something, you chopping some vegetables over here. USB powered hot plate.
Okay, it's really funny. Because okay, because people don't cook like I do.
Oh yeah, you did. You made the zero.
So yeah, there's tomato, there's some basil.
So yeah, when you do this now, you know that
And then go to the other one.
x equals 3, you want to go ahead and write out 3 zero. You want to plug that in the x spot. And then on this one,
This one you guys
They're not allowing me to, but it's kind of like it though. Okay, but my sauce is olive oil, white wine vinegar, and mustard.
My family loves mustard.
I know, but most people don't.
It says that
This
outside
one you
now, I'm not
need
gonna lie.
to, you've already plugged
My
in.
family
So this time you
is
need
the
to put
family
in
that
0
creates
here.
experiments with garlic,
Okay.
ginger, and
The
other stuff
first
like
time you
that.
plugged it in for y.
Now, ginger
This time
popcorn,
you're gonna
those are a
make
good
x.
combination. The ginger ice cream is
Now
just
solve it
better.
with x and 0.
I gotta go do that way.
So 3.
That one doesn't all that good. We've had onions on every single bit of food imaginable. We've had garlic in every
So
single
y
bit of
will
food
equal 5.
imaginable.
But these are just base recipes, and you can add.
So now that you know that y equals 5, go ahead and make
It's
sure
like
your
my house
order's
still doesn't
there.
eat all that
And
many
you plug it in
vegetables. I mean,
for
we'll
the
have
y
potatoes,
spot.
we'll have broccoli.
So that way this, you know
We
this
don't
is
eat that many
ordered.
salads
And
or
this is
anything like that.
ordered.
It's just, maybe we just don't have a good recipe that we like, because lettuce
Right.
itself is just green.
Right. But see, I like color. So I had green for the basil, and then I had light green, and then I had purple, then I had black, and then I had my white, and then I had my tomatoes, and then I had my peas, which is my brown. You know what I mean? I like colorful things. You know, and it's funny that when I put it out on my plate or whatever, I arrange it before I eat it.
You actually inspired me to make a salad the other day. It was last Wednesday, I
So take
think.
that.
I mean, it was some lettuce, some ranch dressing with bacon bits. Let's see what else was it. It was sunflower seeds, black cherries that are chopped up.
But I know that if it tells you
What else was there? There was
Alright, so
a
you guys
little bit of
figure out how to
garlic,
graph
to
a
graph
little
the
bit of
line,
pepper,
it wants you to
some
use the point tool.
Kobe cheese,
I got mine already, I'm sorry.
some broccoli, some carrots.
Oh no, what are you doing here?
That was about it. It was really good. I liked it. And I was like, yeah, I'm eating healthy. I feel good about myself.
Alright, just clear.
You just gotta watch your graph
Click
that's
clear.
all.
Yes.
The amount.
Now if you're trying to draw a line, the only thing you should be clicking is the line.
But then I see them like, and I just looked at this one like, he was like, yeah, I'm eating a salad like you, and I looked at her and I was like, yeah, but your lettuce needs the life preservers. She's like, what do you mean? I mean, I couldn't even tell what kind of
So much
so
dressing.
much dressing in it, and he was
It's like eating cereal.
yeah, pretty much. I was like, would you like some lettuce and vegetables with your dressing? And, but I've got her to where she cut fast enough to where now.
Alright, if you guys
she
haven't
dips
graphed lines
her bite
before,
in the dressing now.
you want to click on the line tool. It's the one that looks like a straight line. And then it wants you to click on 2 points. You want to click on your 2 intercepts and it'll draw your line for you. Okay, so 3, 0 you clicked on.
So you're all
Is that 0, 6?
dressing sounds really good. Yeah, I love the olive oil. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a bad one.
I use your estimate.
Yep, click again. That's it.
And it tells you how much you're using. We don't have to.
We use coconut olive oil. So coconut. Of course, we have canola oil, coconut oil. We have coconut oil mashing.
Alright, so I found my intercepts are 2, 0, and 0, 6. So I want to click on those 2 points to draw my line. Now, like I said, I have to click on those 2 points, or else it will not be correct. Okay, so you can make it bigger if you want. You want to click on the second one down as the line tool. That means I want to draw a line. Okay, now it doesn't matter what order you put them in. So my x-intercept was 2. So I got a 2, 0. And you can see the coordinates in the corner there, so watch your coordinates.
That really helps when you can't really see where the points are.
And make sure you're on the right coordinates. And once you're on the right coordinates, just click.
How can you do a fractional?
You can't on this problem, because you don't need to. Actually you could. I'll show you in a second. Now my y-intercept was 0, 6. So I want to go to 0, 6. And see the coordinates in the corner are 0, 6. Once I get there, I want to click again, and that draws my line. Okay, now if you need...
I'm sorry, this is, we'll probably go into it, but are we going to talk about where it says if only one intercept exists? What's that mean?
That just means it could be a horizontal or vertical.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you'll need that on this question.
Right,
If
yeah.
you want to do a if you want to if you want to make the point on a fraction, which you don't need to do this, but if you did want to, the way you can do that is double click on the point and see where it says edit coordinates. You can type in a fraction for one of the coordinates.
Oh, cool.
And it'll graph that point. So if you're trying to get to a point and you can't get there with the cursor, you can always just edit the coordinates by clicking on the point.
Aha. We outsmart the system.
You should not need to do that though. But if you do, that's how you do it.
Do what? Okay.
You know, if you just cannot get the mouse to cooperate and it just won't go where you want it to, you can also edit the coordinates. Okay, so I clicked on the point and I clicked edit coordinates.
We don't understand.
And that'll let me type in whatever numbers I want the coordinates to be.
So you always subtract from 5.
So you gotta draw a line close to it first.
Well, really any
Turns
line, and then
into
you can edit the coordinates to be whatever you want.
15 equals
Technically.
3y minus 5x. You take this all right?
Alright, so we feeling okay with using the intercepts to graph the equation. If it says use the intercepts, you must click on the intercepts. Okay? Please do not email me and say, why did it cut my line wrong when my line is right? Because I didn't click on the intercepts. Okay?
Yeah, 13 just took a fractional answer.
13 took a fractional answer?
Interesting.
Alright, let's look at 13. I'm curious here.
That's where I was as well.
So what is the other method we can use to graph without the intercepts?
You take the y-intercept on the function right there and put it on.
So one way we can graph is to find the two intercepts. The other way we can graph is to use the y-intercept and the slope.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
kind of what I meant.
So let's talk about using the y-intercept and the slope to graph. And I want to use this when I have the equation y equals mx plus b.
Is that using y-intercept of the slope or to?
And the, that's what Amber's saying, and the slope. Sorry, is that messy ampersand?
This is actually a really easy problem if you know where to look.
Yeah, they're pretty. I think I've successfully deleted all the hard ones.
Gee, thanks.
Okay. Come on, there.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, in the 15-week class, I would make the homework a lot longer because we have a whole week to work on this stuff. So I think I deleted about 10 problems on this one, but it's a little bit harder. Okay, mx plus b. And remember, m is the slope, which is the rise over run. And b
This gives you everything you need to know. Watch.
is the y-intercept. So you can find the y-intercept just from looking at the equation. And you can find the slope just from looking at the equation.
Y-intercept is 3.
Okay, and if I wanted to write the y-intercept as an ordered pair, it would be x is 0 and b is y.
The rise is negative 1, 2, 3, 4. The run is 1.
Now, to
One is
graph
always
the
1.
equation,
The rise is negative 1. So there's 3.
okay, let's use this procedure.
There's your y-intercept.
You want to make your first point
Okay. What you got?
as a y-intercept, which is 0b.
What's your slope?
Okay? So I'm going to get my first point for free just from the equation. Okay, now once I'm at my first point,
I was just gonna ask if maybe you could write out and show us, like, this is what B is, this is what, like how
like
you're,
a little example here.
yeah, like mine says y equals negative 5x minus 4.
Okay, so your m is always the number in front of x,
Okay,
and b is the number without the x.
okay,
So your m here would be negative 5, and your b would be negative 4.
okay.
She's saying that because sometimes they're not in that order.
Sometimes they're not in that order, but m always has the x with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's always mx, and then b is just b.
And sorry. And B is your y-intercept. Always
B is
your
your
y-intercept. And M is always your slope.
M is always your slope.
So in this equation, it gives you everything you need to know to
It gives
answer.
you everything you need to know.